My name is Janie Clifton. This is my presentation on my research proposal for 12-step programs and how they affect relapse rate. Substance abuse has been a major problem in the United States, and 12-step programs came about in the 1930s to combat this. The first was Alcoholics Anonymous, and Narcotics Anonymous soon branched off of that for people who didn't identify as alcoholics but used substances. The research problem is, do 12-step programs work, and how effective are 12-step programs? My research method is a quantitative study using a questionnaire. The sample group will be 100 to 200 people, recent graduates of an inpatient 30-day substance abuse rehabilitation facility. The levels of measurement I'll be using are nominal questions as well as interval questions. The questionnaire will include questions like including the 4 basic tenets of 12-step programs, which are meeting attendance, step work, sponsorship, and service work. So the questions will ask respondents to measure on a scale of 0 to 10 how involved they are in each of these 4 tenets. The theory that I chose to base my study on is psychodynamic theory. Psychodynamic theory espouses that behavior is motivated by our human needs, drives, and emotions. It espouses that childhood experiences play a big part in how we respond to things as an adult, and that our stress responses also influence our behavior. This relates to substance abuse in that our childhood experiences can sometimes lead us to substance abuse later in life, and that our stress responses that substance abuse can be a stress response. Psychodynamic theory would also work with 12-step programs because they are a mutual aid group that focus on our need for emotional and psychological support and identification with others that are like us. The research questions and my hypothesis. The research questions are: how does 12-step program meeting attendance affect relapse rate? How does written step work practice affect relapse rate? How does utilization of sponsorship affect relapse rate? And how does participation of service to the group affect relapse rate? The final question is: how does overall level of participation in the 4 tenets of 12-step groups affect relapse rate? That overall level of participation will be numerically defined by the summation of the responses to the first 4 questions in regard to where level of involvement from 0 to 10. And my hypothesis is that as the level of 12-step group participation increases, rate of relapse decreases. Limitations for this study include there's always some discrepancy in whether or not individuals will be honest on a questionnaire regarding their level of involvement and their relapse rate. And there's also differences in an individual's perceived level of involvement because the 0 to 10 measurement is not a concrete measure. Some personal differences of opinion may affect how the questionnaire is filled out. And then there's always researcher bias and researcher biases regarding those involved with substance abuse and also those involved with 12-step programs. The significance of this study is that substance abuse treatment is a major area of social work. It can let us know if 12-step referrals are warranted and if 12-step groups are an effective method against substance abuse.